resilient and that we made this city something to be respected. I don't know if you guys heard the news, but they're thinking about demolishing the RenCen Center. Famous to our skyline, our history, and now they're thinking about demolishing it. And in today's video, I'm gonna talk to you from a contractor's perspective on how I feel about that decision, what I think they should do, and what it could mean for the future of Detroit. Now, if you don't know me and you're seeing this video for the first time, my name's Josh. I'm a local landscaper and hardscaper, and I build a lot of beautiful backyards in Oakland County and in Wayne County. And I like to talk about some Detroit local events aside from what we do as a team. So if you haven't already, like, comment, subscribe. Here we go. I just hopped off the People Mover. I highly recommend that, 10 out of 10. First thing that I want to do is kind of set the stage for the building with some history. So people see the building, they know the iconic skyline, but they kind of don't know the history. It was actually built in 1970 by Henry Ford II, funny enough. And in 1990, he actually gave it to GM. Now, this building's so iconic because at one point there was 6,000 people here. This was, and it still is, I believe, the largest and tallest hotel in this building. It's the tallest hotel in the Western Hemisphere. And at the time that it was built, it was the most expensive private real estate project in the US, so pretty memorable. 6,000 people, that's crazy. That's like a world in and of itself. It was actually built circularly and with so many amenities inside that you wouldn't have to leave from this building to be able to access food, amenities. I'm walking through the building, it's super quiet right now, and I'm gonna explain to you why in a second. That's the history of the building, but things have changed so much. So this used to be a thriving epicenter of the automotive industry, reflecting what Detroit was really coming into around that time. But now the building's about half vacant. A lot of the tenants are leaving, and now Detroit's left with one decision: keep it, delete it, or renovate it. Which option do I think's best? Let me tell you which one I think's best. But before I tell you which option's best, check this building out. Like, this is high-end architecture, especially back in 1990s. Like, this had to wow just about any and everybody who came to this building. So big respect to the build, the design. So before I answer that question of whether we should rebuild it, delete it, or renovate it, we got to talk about some things to think about when making these decisions. First things first, this building is gorgeous. It's beautiful, but from a 70s perspective. In 1970s, this building was probably the top tier extravagant building, and it's really beautiful, but it's just at this point outdated. Some of the systems are outdated. The structure that is laid out in a circular fashion is a little bit outdated, and that makes it super difficult when it comes time to renovate this entire place. It's going to require entirely new systems and a very large overhaul, which brings me to my second point. 2, renovations, especially from a contractor's perspective, from my fellow contractors watching this video, you know that 9 times out of 10, it's far more expensive to renovate and repair an older structure than it is to install something entirely new. So you have to take that into consideration, plus the magnitude in millions of square feet in this building that would be required to do so. That's gonna be HVAC, that's gonna be electrical, that's gonna be framing, that's gonna be heating and cooling, that's going to be, oh man, I can only imagine the amount of trades you'll need in here to actually make this place up to date from a 2025 perspective. Third thing that you gotta think about when it comes to stuff like this is that if you decide to delete the building, the amount of planning that will be required in terms of environmental concerns, deleting the building in terms of all the glass structures, all the material, the proximity that we have right here at this view that I have to the water, not contaminating that source. It's gonna take years and maybe even decades of planning to get to a point where they safely have a plan to actually take this building down and erect something new that'll be just as monumental or close to people's heart in Detroit. Oh yeah, and we can't forget the maintenance. I mean, DTE is the #1 disliked company here in Detroit, I can tell you, as a contractor and a homeowner. And I would definitely say that the maintenance on this building is likely incredible. From the security guards, to the electricity, to again, the heating and cooling, the mechanics, the elevators. There's so much to maintain, and someone has to pay for that. And when you've lost your #1 tenant, the tenant that the building is essentially designed for, and the other smaller tenants begin to make their way out. This is the food court below me, and I know that Andiamos has left, and I also know that just recently the Burger King, one of the last restaurants that are active in the building, has left too. So once you have a lot of people leaving, it does put you in a tough predicament to make a decision, but it's important, I feel, to get the public's opinion and the locals' opinion, because ultimately, and we'll talk about this a little bit later on in the video, someone's got to pay for it, either to renovate it, repair it, or to maintain it. It's got to come out of either taxpayers' dollars, or they need to generate revenue with new people living here. So it's a tough spot to be in. With all that in mind, kind of leaves us with two options. Either option one, demolition of the entire building and rebuild something entirely new. The demolition is going to take thousands of contractors. Kind of like I mentioned earlier, it's going to take years of planning, from environmentally friendly services, engineering services. It's not like your favorite YouTube videos where you can blow this building up because it's so intricate, and the pillars and the construction of it with all this concrete. It's going to take years to plan, and it's going to take years to actually execute too. So if you ask me, my decision is to keep the building. This isn't just any building that Detroit owns. This is a piece of history. This is the piece of history that Detroit needs to keep as we move forward to a new future. It's great to have a new future with a new city that's vibrant and tons of things to do and coming back to life, but it means nothing, in my opinion, if you don't have the history to reflect on, to remind the citizens, the newcomers, the people who've lived here and are tenured here in Detroit, that we overcame, that we were resilient, and that we made this city something to be respected again. So if you guys were to ask me, I would easily say the city needs to keep this piece of its history, to never forget it, and to actually use it to bring forth a new future and new history. And one of the most important and controversial parts of any plan, whether it becomes a demolition plan or a rebuild plan or a renovate plan, is who pays for this. I mentioned this a little bit earlier in the video, and I do think it's actually extremely important that the dollars that are invested to renovate or do something with this location, frankly, aren't all taxpayer dollars, because taxpayers have been paying towards tons of amenities to happen in the Detroit area, but how much do they truly benefit from it? There was a plan originally around 2024 for $350 million to do a riverfront revitalization that would create more public parks and some type of a connection / Navy Pier style design to recreate that area. And I know that it's been lowered to about $150 million now, and they're almost even saying that they would knock down, Bedrock themselves would knock down 4 or 5 of the 7 towers on their own funded dollars if they can't get that funding. And as I mentioned earlier, it's super important to take advice and words from the community as it relates to how their dollars are spent. Yes, it's beautiful to have an amazing building and a skyline and memories of Detroit and our history visible for us all to see, but we should also benefit from that, the taxpayers, in some way, shape, or form. There should be some amenities here, some stores here, community efforts here that actually put these funds to good use, and that we don't just have beautiful skyscrapers all around Detroit. If you've made it this far into the video, I definitely know a couple things about you. You have some level of a vested interest in the future of Detroit, and specifically this building. whether it's because you worked here at one point, maybe family or friends worked here at one point, or you're just curious about what's next for Detroit's future as we do so many renovations. So I do want to hear your 2 cents. What do you think we should do with this building? Who should be responsible for paying for whatever does happen here? And what are your thoughts on just the sentiment around the RenCen right now? I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you haven't already, do me a huge favor, like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.